Here's my audience. Thomas Vanek shows firsthand experience. In a quote from Thomas Vanek, every player, no matter where he's at, he always expects to be a little higher. I would do the same for myself. It's not bad where I am sitting right now, but I think I might be a little higher than I am. This is one of the many inspirational quotes from Thomas Vanek. He was born on January 19th, 1984, and since then he has traveled to the United States and become a world-famous hockey player. Vanek has grown from a small-town kid to an NHL player. Thomas Vanek shows firsthand experience. I'll describe his transformation with these 3 main points. Thomas Vanek follows in his father's footsteps. Thomas Vanek is a competitor, and Thomas Vanek leads by example. Throughout the course of his childhood, Thomas Vanek grew up watching his father play a game that he would end up falling in love with. In an October 2014 newspaper editorial titled, "Vanek's Long Journey Leads Him Back to Minnesota," written for the Star-Tribune by Michael Russo, it was written that, in the height of criticism that was happening in Czechoslovakia, Thomas's parents, Jarmila and Zdeněk Vanek, set out for a better life for him and his older brother David. They traveled from border to border to try to immigrate into Austria. They started a completely new life. This is where Vanek was born. He grew up in a small town called Graz. Zdeněk was a professional hockey player, and so from the time Thomas Vanek could remember, he fell in love with the sport of hockey. His father comes from a Czech background, and because of this, he grew up loving the game and even had posters in his room of some of his favorite players like Jaromír Jágr and Dominik Hasek. In establishing a name for himself, Vanek set out to reach new goals in life. After moving to the United States, Thomas was offered a scholarship to play hockey at the University of Minnesota. This leads me to my second main point. Thomas Vanek is a competitor. To paraphrase the biography found on the official Thomas Vanek website, while playing in his junior hockey career for the Sioux Falls Stampede, Vanek became a scoring machine. It took a few years to fully adjust to the speed the North American game had to offer, but he exploded in the 2001-2002 season with an amazing year. He scored 46 goals and had 53 assists. And with his career, he ended up having a total of 108 points and 53 games. His goals and point record still hold for the USHL. In his career, he recorded 80 goals and 153 points in 108 games. After this successful career Vanek had, he became the first European-born player to play for the University of Minnesota, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. In review, Thomas Vanek is a competitor. Thomas Vanek shows that hard work and dedication can lead you to what you love the most. It also shows that no matter where you are, or no matter where you live, or how old you are, you can still be the person you were always meant to be. This brings me to my third and final main point. In an article written for the Players Spotlight in February of 2007, titled "A Puck and a Dream, Thomas Vanek's Travel to Stardom," written by Alan Sheldon, it states the following. Vanek had a coming-out party in November of 2002. The game against Michigan State, when he scored 3 goals, had an assist, and recorded 15 shots on net. This was the moment that everybody in college hockey truly knew who Thomas Vanek was, and they started to pay attention to him. He led the Gophers in scoring and had the winning goal against Michigan in the NCAA semifinals and against New Hampshire in the NCAA championship game. In review, Thomas Vanek leads by example. When thinking about where Thomas Vanek came from to where he is now, in his professional career, he has come a long way. He puts it into words like this. The decision was not because I live here. It's because I feel like this team has depth and I can add to it. I've always believed in myself, and I still do. Last year was a tough year moving around, but going into every year, I know I can score and make my teammates better. I still feel like my game is growing, and I still feel like I have a lot of good hockey left in me. He also says, once that in my Once that thought in my head goes away, then it's time for me to step away. His act of setting out for his goal, conquering, and achieving shows that Thomas can be an idol to not only hockey players, but anyone who wants to achieve at what they do. This is why Thomas Vanek shows firsthand experience. He's an exceptional hockey player and will be remembered by many because Thomas Vanek follows in his father's footsteps. Thomas Vanek is a competitor, and Thomas Vanek leads by example. Thanks for listening.
That was a little off.